Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good morning to a drowsy and a heartbroken Memphis. What a game last night. A classic except for the final score. Grizzlies 117-111 in overtime. The Lakers are up 3-1. In his one was to a great start. They had plenty of energy, making up for what occurred. In fact, in the first 4 minutes, they had 10 points, which was more than they scored in the first 12 minutes in the third game of the series. Then they fell behind by 15. Then at the end of the first half, they went on a 14-1 run, and I thought, woo, baby, they've answered. This is going to be a great game. 14-1 run makes it 54-52 at the half. Desmond Bane was the star. He had 36.7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. But he was really the only guy because nobody could shoot. He wasn't even shooting from beyond three-point range. The Grizzlies for the night shot only 39%. They were 9 of 42. That's 21% from three-point range. 21%, and they're still in the game. They're in the game because of second chance points. 16 offensive rebounds. That kept them in the game. They actually had 12 more shots than the Lakers because they had all those offensive rebounds, and they got points that way. They put the brakes on Anthony Davis. He struggled. He had a hard game. Usually, well, like game 2, when that occurs, the Grizzlies are going to win the game. That was not the case. Reeves, Russell, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt scored like their first 7 points. They were big factors. Once again, complementary players in this series for L.A. were better than complementary players for the Grizzlies. They're basically the deeper team. They're the better overall team. When you don't have Clark and you don't have Mr. Adams, you go deeper. Now you're using 2 guys you wouldn't even use in the playoffs. And that's that depth that is the difference, I think, truly, in the series. And I would say that, and then, of course, there's LeBron. He's the best player. LeBron, 22 points, 20 rebounds, 7 assists. The game is for Memphis to take. They're up 6.7 seconds away from tying the series up, coming home, where they're the best home team in the league. They're going to win the series if they win this game, if they make this stop. And they don't have the game plan discipline to stop LeBron from going to his right. I'm not observing that. I've been told that. I was told that by Desmond Bane himself, who was supposed to be one of the helpers, and the other guy was Dillon Brooks. Of course, Dillon Brooks wouldn't talk about it after the game. We'll get into that in a second. The frustration here is might still have lost, but had you stopped him, he's got to give it up to somebody else. And they didn't have, in the words of Desmond Bane, the game plan discipline to do what they should have done. Also, they're not a mature enough team to be disciplined, and we learned that pregame from their coach. Taylor Jenkins said almost prophetically in the pregame media exposure that his team has been immature both on and off the court, and that came back to bite him in this one. So LeBron does something that nobody his age has ever done, 22 points and 20 rebounds. You know, remember how Dillon Brooks said and I'm stealing this, I think, from Shaq, how he doesn't respect anybody till they get 40. Well, 20 and 22 is 42. So maybe he respects him now. And it was interesting listening with Greg and Eli, and they were talking to Brevin Knight. And they asked about why Tillman was on him, and he gave the explanation. But there was one other caveat that he did not mention that I think. They'd lost a little bit of faith in Dillon Brooks because, according to Mark Giannotto's piece, Brooks was not a very good defender on LeBron last night. LeBron was 4 of 4 on shots taken when Dillon Brooks had the assignment. So why would you want him on him? And if we could have asked Dillon Brooks about it, what would he have said? I don't know, because he doesn't talk when they lose. He'll crow when they win, but they won't talk when they lose. And the same for John Morant, who claims he's the leader of the team, and then when it's time to discuss what happened as the leader and take responsibility, he ducks out. This wasn't because of a hand injury. This was because of a bruised ego.
Yeah, certainly so, and that's a topic, like you said, we'll talk about that in a minute. Dillon Brooks' matchup with LeBron has certainly been interesting in this series. Moving him off of him is certainly interesting in this series. I think a lot of people have lost faith in Dillon Brooks, not in the locker room necessarily or the coaching staff, but outside of the coaching, outside of the locker room, the fan base in particular. I'm interested to see what they do this offseason in terms of re-signing him. I think a lot of the fan base.
I think a lot of people think he's not going to be re-signed, that he's going to try to go get a new lease on life, that maybe he's not even interested in staying because everything's turned. But he's the reason it's turned. I mean, these are facts. This is not my bias because I don't dislike Dillon Brooks. In fact, I met him several years ago at the wine and food thing. I liked him. I think I met him with the mother of his child. I liked the guy. I don't know why he turned heel, why he thinks that's good. I don't get that part of it. But when you go 4 of 11 and 1 of 7 from 3, and you were 3 of 13 in the game before that, and you continue to take bad shots early in the shot clock, another one about 4 seconds in, he took a 3. When you continue to do that, and then you're boasting about how you stop everybody, and the guy, you have to be taken off the guy because he's 4 of 4 on you after you've insulted him, and then you don't talk, it's hard to like that. It's really hard to like that. And when a guy says he's the leader of the team and then ducks out when the going gets tough, he's not the leader. He's not. Xavier Tillman, Desmond Bane, they're your leaders because at least they try and face the music. It's sad. And Taylor Jenkins was spot on. But you're also talking about one of the greatest players who ever played the game. And in thinking about this, just in the game of basketball, who's a better old player than LeBron James? Michael Jordan, maybe. I can tell you this. LeBron James, at 38, just had a 20 and 22. And, by the way, in that, he ended up with 7 assists, so he gets everybody involved. As Brevin Knight was saying, when you're the star and you get everybody involved, now everybody's going to pass the ball around. Because if the star is doing it, you're going to do it too. And I would say for the most part, Ja has done that. I know it was Barkley who ripped him for not making his teammates better, but I always thought that was a falsehood. I think he was spot on with that. But speaking of that crew, Kenny the Jet Smith said something that was just so spot on. He said, 20-some years ago, or almost 20 years ago, when LeBron was, 18 or 19, and they were in the playoffs, he clearly was the best player on the floor. Here you are almost 20 years later, at 38, he's the best player on the floor. So, Jabbar's numbers declined after he was 38. The other guy you could think about, Karl Malone, who ended up playing into his 40s. His last year was with the Lakers. They finished second in the league, but they didn't win much, and his numbers declined. I'm thinking LeBron, one of the great old players of all time. Then you start to think, wait a second, maybe the greatest old guy could have been Ted Williams. Ted Williams at 38 hit 345 with 24 home runs, 82 RBIs in 136 games. But better, at age 39, he ended up hitting 388, 24 home runs, 87 RBI. He led the American League in hitting. He won the crown that year for hitting at age 39. At age 40, he was still going strong. At 40, his numbers declined. He went from 388 but to 328. He still hit 26 home runs and had an 84 RBI. Now, that's pretty incredible, especially at 39 to win the batting title. And your reflexes slow down, hand-eye coordination can't be quite the same as it was when you're young, sort of like that first step in tennis or even in basketball, which LeBron still has because he got right by a couple of guys to his right. But at 39, that is pretty darn incredible. Tom Brady, 4 Super Bowls after the age of 37. Gordie Howe, he played into his 50s. How about George Foreman at age 45, won the world title in the heavyweight division. Now he was behind on scorecards and then he'd knock you out. But it counts. And then Phil Mickelson, who won a major in his 50s. Those are the greatest old achievements. But LeBron last night, he's up there.
When I think of great players into older athletic age, I guess I should say, not true old age, but Roger Federer comes to mind for me. Just unbelievable athlete and seemed to get, almost like LeBron, seemed to be playing his best tennis down the stretch of his career when you would see a significant decline in most players. He just seemed to keep going up in that regard.
Yeah, you know what, though? And really, I remember when the tournament tour used to come through here on a regular basis. And they would say, because of that first step being so important, that a tennis player's prime was really 27 to 28. So when they reached early 30s, they were past their prime. Now, that, I think, changed with weight training, easier travel because they started going private planes, trainers, nutrition. That kind of changed where you could be an effective player into your mid-30s. But what he did, he was still playing in what was...
He retired when he was 40, I believe.
He retired when he was 40. When did he win his last major? At 39?
Yeah, that's right. I think. Let me double check.
I think that's right. So that's up there because that game is predicated on that first step.
38. Australian Open at age 38.
Is that the oldest guy ever to win a major?
Oh, it has to be. I'll look it up, but it has to be.
Yeah. So you got to put Federer in there. I like that, and I'll be honest with you. Gordie Howe, when he was in his 50s, was playing with a major league, but it wasn't the NHL anymore. He was playing with WHA, which was an expansion league, which ended up merging in. But he played with his sons. So, and he might have actually played like a AAA game with both of his sons when they got old. It was wild.
I'm sorry. He was 37 when he won, a younger 37 than Ken Rosewall, who in 1972 also won an Australian Open at age 37, but an older 37 than Roger Federer.
But nobody's ever won after 37.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Something to shoot for.
I'm trying to remember, how old is Rafa right now?
I'll look it up. So in women, Serena was 35 years and 4 months when she won her last major.
Really?
Also an Australian Open.
She got into the title match 3 or 4 times after that and could have won. She was the favorite to win. This is after she had given birth to a child and couldn't get it done.
Rafa's 36.
So Rafa's 36.
And he just won the French Open. And there's no timetable for when he's going to stop winning French Opens.
Here's the thing, is that Father Time's going to catch up with him because of injury. He can't stay healthy.
That's right.
But he needs another year and a half to break it.
And the Joker's 35, so
the Joker is in unbelievable shape, and he doesn't play as much as the others. So, you know what? Maybe he breaks it. Maybe he wins one at 38. It'll be interesting to watch both those two because that's really Rafa's going to be the winningest. Not Rafa. Joker's going to be the winningest of all time. He's going to end up with that title, and he could end up with. After that, what else do you shoot for except for being the oldest guy to win a major? But pretty impressive stuff by one LeBron James last night. So that gets us to tomorrow night, 6:30 FedEx Forum, and this will be Game 5. You said earlier in our prediction phase, the Grizzlies would win in 7.
The Lakers would win in 7.
I mean, the Lakers would win in 7. You still think that's going to happen?
Less so today than I did yesterday.
No doubt. I said 6, and I think that it'll be that way. I think the Grizzlies, had they won last night, would have won in 7. I can't imagine they could win 3 in a row now. That's why 95% of the teams that are in this position fail.
And they're generally healthier than the Lakers are if they do succeed and win 3 straight, too.
That would be an incredible feat. The only thing that, that might occur is if AD or LeBron got hurt in Game 5.
Which is how the last time when LeBron did it to the Warriors was Andrew Bogut getting hurt, and then Tristan Thompson ended up getting 25 rebounds a game, seemingly. Right. And that's how it happened the last time it happened. So you're right. That would, God forbid, but that would be the thing that would take place.
I don't want that to occur for sure. I think the Grizz will win tomorrow night. I think they'll find a way. Heck, I really thought when they came back from 15 down in that run that they had a real shot to win it. And they took that 7-point lead with 5 minutes and change left to go in the game. I thought that was it. And then, again, complimentary player. And I haven't even really mentioned D'Angelo Russell. But he hit some threes in that 5-minute stretch there that got him back in the game.
Some big shots, undoubtedly.
Yeah. After they couldn't hit a thing either. So the Grizz actually had one more 3 than they did, even though they shot 21%. I just can't imagine it goes 7. I really hope it does. I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow night.
But you think they get past Wednesday, though?
I do think there will be a Game 6 in Los Angeles, and I think that's where the season will come to an end for the Grizzlies. And it would be fitting that they'd win at home, because they are the best home team, and they would lose on the road because they're one of the worst road teams. What also is interesting is, in the past, there has never been a play-in team that won a first-round series. Never.
You might have 2 now.
And now you've got an 8 seed Miami on the verge of getting Giannis and the Bucks. And by the way, that was kind of similar. The Bucks had a big lead in that game till near the end of the fourth quarter.
10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they had a 12-point lead 5 minutes into the fourth quarter.
That's right.
And the game got totally reversed. And here are the Grizz up 7 with 5 and change to go, and they couldn't get it done. So that was similar. And now you have, by odds, 2 teams, a 7-team and an 8-team, both play-ins, about to win their first series. Wow. That's history as well. Who could see this stuff coming? Somebody said to me, you think the NBA is happy about all this because you got Miami, a much bigger market than Milwaukee, and, of course, the Lakers over one of the smaller markets, Memphis. And I think in the case of L.A., yeah. I think in the case of Miami, I wouldn't say that. You got the defending champions and one of the great superstars of the game in Giannis. And I think enough people will watch Milwaukee that I don't think the NBA would be crazy about that. Do you?
But probably not losing Giannis. But I don't know why they
would get Jimmy Butler at 56.
Yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, I think they're probably, even Steven, no matter what happens, you either lose LeBron or keep Ja or vice versa, or you keep Jimmy Butler and lose Giannis or vice versa. So I think they're probably pretty even Steven no matter what.
2 other things occurred yesterday that are important news-wise for all of us here. One is the National Football League will have Russell Copeland on the day of the draft Thursday. But yesterday the deal finally got done, and much like Brett Favre took his path, it is this time Aaron Rodgers, who is leaving Green Bay. And finally, the deal got done with a bunch of draft picks. I think the Jets make out big time in this. And I'm pleased about that because I don't care about Green Bay, as you all know. But now Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet, and that makes them immediately a contender in the AFC. And then the other news is we mentioned at the show yesterday that Jonathan Lawson had announced he had entered the transfer portal right before we got on the air. That was true. He is, at least we think he's going. The portal's going to close on May 11th. Also, Tyler Johnson, a four-star true point guard who had chosen Memphis in the early signing period, never did sign his letter of intent. He had chosen Memphis over North Carolina State and Seton Hall. And for whatever reason yesterday, and I don't think it was totally unexpected because he never did sign his letter of intent, but he said he is decommitted to the University of Memphis, so we'll have to wait and see where he goes. And the clock is ticking down on Penny. And, Penny's going to stay with Mikey Williams, has to. We mentioned this yesterday, but the kid's declaring his innocence. And there's not going to be a verdict until after the portal closes on May 11th. So Mikey Williams is going to be with this team until he is proven guilty. That would be my best assumption. So that gets us sort of up to date. We'll talk more on Tiger Hoops and on the NFL coming up later in the week. We will talk baseball and heartbreak. T.J. Reeves, he's feeling the same way about his Tampa Bay Lightning, although he feels pretty good about his Rays. He'll talk about heartbreak in the NHL and a whole lot more when we come back in just a moment. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studio, lowest prices in town, free liner upgrades with pools right now with the Vacation at Home sale. You mention this ad on anything, patio equipment, play gyms, you get half off on installation. If you say Sports 56 sent you. You know our title sponsor is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where if you're looking for that G70, you want luxury of a Genesis, you want a sports car, you want a rocket, because it's fast, you got to go see Vinny Gerard. He's the guy at Homer Skelton Hyundai that is in charge of all the Genesis cars. Chris Drew's still the GM over everything, but Vinny specializes in the G cars. And right now, if you finance with Genesis, you get a $1,000 rebate just for doing business with them. They're paying you to come to Homer Skelton Hyundai. Back in a minute. To Tampa we go, and T.J. Reeves, he comes your way in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, folks. Matt Burton of the Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and interest rates low as 2.9. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way you're doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Next to Sunrise Wolf Chase.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
There are so many ways to buy and sell houses these days. How do you choose? Well, of course, choose the right way with Chet Whitsitt. Chet has over 37 years of experience as both a broker and a sales agent. He's helped lots of people buy and sell homes, and he will help you. It's the right way, and it's that easy. Buying, selling, or referrals, check with Chet at 901-484-5689 and Cry Like Realtors at 901-756-8900. Buying or selling? Check with Chet Whitsitt.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I know it's cool outside, but the rush is coming to get your air condition up to date. $69, that's all it costs for that Super Saver 16-point tune-up that you get with Conway. All you got to do is call 384-3511. Then you're on your way to avoiding any kind of costly breakdowns during the hottest months of the year. Also, your system becomes efficient. That saves you money on your MLGW bill, and your system will last longer. 384-3511. That's the number for Conway. And this portion of the show also brought to you by Grind City Brewing, where taking care of beerness in Memphis is their number one thing. This is a great place. It is. It starts with the father-son duo. They wanted to create a brand that delivers high quality, great tasting, easy drinking craft beer, and my goodness, have they ever done that with Tiger Tail and with Poppy's Pills. There's a couple of other new lagers there. I mean, it's just terrific. And they've got new branding. It's very cool. Go check out, go to any of your local spirit stores like the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. Look around. You'll tell what's Grind City. Brand new branding. Man, it's distinctive. You know it's Grind City. TJ Reeves, are you as tired? Are you as heartbroken as all of Memphis is today? Grizzlies lose in overtime. So do your Tampa Bay Lightning at home. They lose, and they're down 3-1 in the series. And just like Memphis, the Maple Leafs beat the Lightning in OT.
I guess misery loves company. It's good to be with you. I'm trying not to hold you and JMO personally responsible for picking the Lightning back a week ago. And it did start off so well with a Lightning win, but since then, the Leafs seem to have figured it out here. And let me just say at the outset, I mean, we're down in the mouth in this area. It's a gut punch. You can hear it all over the sports radio airwaves. You see it all over the internet that the Lightning fans are almost abandoning ship here at this point. But I choose to look at the glass half full right now. Would you not, in this area, I say to everybody, but I would say this to the Memphis fans and the Memphis audience, would you not trade having won 2 Stanley Cups and been in the Stanley Cup final last year, and all the memories and all the moments and boat parades and craziness that you've had? I think a lot of franchises would trade that in the NHL and the NBA. But it appears that down here the Lightning magic is about to run out, and it appears, as you were saying, the Memphis Grizzlies have run into LeBron and the Lakers, who have figured it out at the end of the year and now in the postseason.
I have to temper some of what you just said because, correct me if I'm wrong here, in basketball, in the NBA, if you're down 3-1, 95% of the time you lose. I don't think that number is that way in hockey. I mean,
no.
If you're Lightning, 2-time champions like you've just crowed, they can come back. They can beat this Leafs. They beat them in the first game.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is the defense is not as good and the goalie's not as good. The goalie, who's been phenomenal as a lockdown goalie. I mean, I realize Memphis was engrossed in the game with the Lakers last night, but the Lightning are up 4-1 in the third period. I don't know what the win probability, W-I-N, the win probability was for Toronto on the road, down 4-1 in the third period. JMO's like into the analytics, the numbers. Yeah. Win probability had to be about 2%, maybe 1% for Toronto. Yeah. Yet they score 3 times in the third and win the game early on in the overtime. And there's a lot of belief here. They have psychologically broken Vasilevsky. They scored 7 goals in the second game to even the series 1-1. And now the Lightning have given up 2 leads with Vasilevsky looking human, looking mortal.
Well,
that's why there's not as much belief that this team can even win Game 5 on Thursday night, much less win the last 3 games, much less have to win a Game 7 eventually back in Toronto.
Right.
That's how crushing last night was.
Yeah, but Toronto is known for blowing it.
Yes,
so
they are.
You got the right team for that.
The remarkable stat that keeps getting repeated, they have not won any playoff series of any kind since 2004.
It's
so this is
crazy.
Totally foreign for them to be able to put one away. And bear in mind, they were ahead 3-2 on the Lightning last year and couldn't hold it. They were ahead 3-1, to your point, on a bad losing record Montreal team in the quirky, crazy COVID-19 playoffs of 2021. They were ahead 3-1, blew Game 5 at home in an empty arena, blew Game 6 in Montreal in an empty arena, and then blew Game 7 at home in the empty arena. It was crazy, but they lost to Montreal. But again, there's not a lot of expectation down here. It appears the magic has run out. So be it.
All right. It's been a year of comebacks, though. Look at Edmonton with the LA Kings the other day.
Well,
they
I'm with
win in
you.
overtime.
I like you trying to cheer me up.
Crazy.
I like you trying to cheer me up.
Crazy things
J-Mo,
can
you know
happen.
this stat. The last 12 games over the last 3 days, the road team has won 11 times in 12 games. Until Seattle won late night last night at home, their first ever home playoff win for the Kraken, because they lost 2 nights ago. The road team had been 11-0, including the Devils beating the Rangers twice at the Garden, as J-Mo knows, including Carolina beating the Islanders twice in Long Island. It's been crazy how the road team has done. So maybe there is a glimmer of hope for the Lightning as the road team.
There you go. How healthy is the NHL? They got a new deal with ESPN, and they still have a TBS TNT deal. That was the combo to replace NBC, which did put some of the games on NBC, but they were putting most of the games on that now defunct NBC Sports thing. Is the NHL healthier?
Yes. And the 4 letters you mentioned at the beginning, ESPN, back embracing it. Just because whether it's their Sports Center programming, whether it's their talking head shows during the day, whether it's ESPN Plus, which has shown about 9,072 games this year of the NHL as they did last year, available on their app, it is definitely a bigger brand to help the NHL. And you're right. Now you have 2 television partners where the games can be standalone games on different cable networks, as TBS has been doing and TNT will do. And actually, Turner has the Stanley Cup Finals this year with Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk calling it. So the final series, the final best-of-7 series, the East against the West, is on Turner this year and not on ESPN. So that's the first time. That is the first time, by the way, that the Stanley Cup Finals will be on something other than NBC or ESPN/ABC in over 45 years. That's how long it's been since another partner has televised the Stanley Cup Finals. So you're right, 2 different cable networks, but the ESPN brand behind it, pushing it and promoting it, that's going to help. It's going to help the ratings some.
And I'll tell you,
it is what it is. The NHL is only going to get so much. They're not going to get anything like what the NBA is getting. They know that, but they're going to get some.
I think the ESPN Plus stuff, which you can measure so you really know, I think in the long run that's really going to be a major footprint. I do. I think more and more people are getting ESPN Plus, and so they watch at their own leisure what they want to watch with sports to a certain extent.
True. Well, and all of it is available now. I mean, on any given night, there are dozens of games that are sitting there on that service, and this is why CBS is doing it with Paramount Plus. And, NBC's got Peacock, all of them in the arms race. But ESPN is far more advanced and integrated with all the college sports and all the pro leagues that they have of being able to show the games. And so, yes, you're right. If you are a fan, that relationship now with ESPN coming back in, because ESPN had been away for like 16 or 17 years till they came back in last year, that's huge for the National Hockey League, for sure.
We were talking earlier about great performances by older players after LeBron went 20 and 22 last night, which is absolutely incredible. And, you're thinking about Brady, 4 Super Bowls after the age of 37. George Foreman winning the World Heavyweight Championship at age 45. Everybody thinks about Nicklaus at 46 winning the Masters. But
there you go.
But Mickelson won in his 50s a major.
That's correct. He was 51 a year and a half ago. And again, in golf terms, that is basically putting it together for one weekend or for one day. In George Foreman's case, it's one night for his knockout of Michael Moore in his comeback that everybody laughed at for the longest time until he got that knockout. So that's one night. When you're talking about Brady, that went over the course of 4 playoff games, including the Super Bowl in Kansas City to win it. Or in LeBron's case, this could be a wild crowning jewel for him, and they got a long way to go. They got a long way to go to win the thing.
Oh, yeah.
But, they were counted out. Dirt shoveled on them back in the first half of the season. So if they start putting together a championship run at his age with him carrying them, which, again, it's not one event. It's not one weekend to get hot. You have got, as you know, a grueling 6 or 7 week process here to win this for he and the Lakers.
In your sport, Gordie Howe playing into his 50s, I don't know. Maybe because we'll end our little session here with you talking about your Rays. But how about Ted Williams at age 39 winning the American League batting crown, hitting 388? Sure. At age 39, at age 40, he hit 328.
And again, that's over a full season. That's not just put something together.
Oh, yeah. That was
we're partial to golf.
136 games.
And Tiger Woods winning the Masters at 40, what was he, 43, right, at the 2019 Comeback Masters.
Right.
So, again, that's putting it together for one weekend. Magic like Nicklaus, magic like Mickelson. So, the golf is different in that regard. But it is pretty amazing to see what we've seen, and a lot of it has to do with nutrition, health, rest, all the talk about load management, taking care of your body, that these guys can keep playing at this high of a level, late 30s and early 40s even. It's crazy.
Well, I heard this was like 2 years ago that LeBron decided in his early 30s that he was going to figure out a strong regimen of working out and nutrition to elongate his career. And
that's right.
I heard his budget for this, between trainers, nutritionists, psychologists, whatever it is, food, the way he eats it, he spends $1 million a year. That's the budget to be the way he is. That's money
not
well
unlike
spent.
the Wolotion plan for health and wellness and nutrition. Very similar.
Fast food is much cheaper, let's be honest.
In our worlds, it is, how much did we spend on dinner last night and what's left over in the fridge? Okay, we're eating that. Did I remember to work out today? Did I remember to take the medication I was supposed to take?
There you
That's
go.
our world. That's the rest of us. That's the other 99.9%.
All right, your Rays have done something no other team has done since 1890. Is that right?
It is, yeah. It's never been done in the modern records of Major League Baseball. When you're going back quoting stuff in the 1880s and the 1890s, that's not even modern baseball. That a team has won its first 14 games at home, so they have now bettered the old New York Giants before the San Francisco Giants by winning the first 14 at home. And again, I say to you, I don't know how long this is going to last. They may level off, they may start to unravel, but they continue to hit the daylights out of the ball. And I mean, they blasted the Houston Astros last night, 8-3, for a 20th win, a 20-3 start. The remarkable standard that I keep quoting, and I quoted this to you privately off the air. Here's the number on the air. The 84 Tigers, before J-Mo was on the planet. Am I correct, J-Mo? Not on the planet, 1984. Confirmed?
Confirmed.
That is confirmed? All right, that is confirmed. Kurt Gibson, Sweet Lou Whitaker, I'm speaking your language, Wolo.
Yeah.
Alan Trammell.
Yeah.
Sparky Anderson's the manager. They were 35-5. 35-5 in 1984 and rolled on and eventually won the World Series, beat the San Diego Padres. So I don't know that the Rays can get anywhere close to that at 20-3. I mean, if the Rays end up 10 or 15 games above 500 in the second half of the season, that is mission accomplished with their payroll and with their lineup. But this is a lot of fun. There is a ton of buzz. There's a national attention situation here for what they're doing, and all of that's great. All of that is tremendous. for the start they've gotten off to. It's remarkable.
Well, you're talking about that, and look, 14-0 at home. That is incredible. 20-3, that is great. But back to that '80s Detroit team, since you brought it up, think about they got to go 15-2 to tie the record.
That's correct. If they go 14-3, they're not as good as the '84 Tigers, who were 35-5, 30 games above 500, 40 games in, and rolled on. And look, the Yankees very famously won 111 games in 1998, one of the great seasons ever, then went on to win the World Series. And they also, ironically, beat the San Diego Padres. Again, there's perspective down here. This is a lot of fun. It's getting a lot of attention. But even we understand this is not a Hall of Fame lineup. These guys are.
Yeah, I mean, Franco Wonder is the only guy I know.
What they should be, but let's enjoy it while it lasts. This is cheering me up. The end of our conversation is now cheering me up on a Tuesday after the tough Lightning.
Let me put you back to reality. This 14-0 team at home, who outdrew who? You had the Astros, best team in the American League the last few years, against your Rays, who haven't lost at home, taking on Tampa Bay and Toronto over at the Amalie Center?
Oh, Amalie Arena, correct. The downtown arena, correct.
Who outdrew who?
I don't know what the Rays announced last night. J-Mo can look it up. I know they had 25,000 for the 2 weekend White Sox games. I don't know that they had 25,000 on a Monday night. And keep in mind, the Lightning are immensely popular, huge playoff game, so there would have been thousands who stayed home to probably watch both on TV, or at least watch the Lightning game.
So
that hurt them head-to-head.
I guarantee you that was sold out at the Amalie Arena.
Oh, absolutely.
So 10,600 at the Rays game.
So they announced 10,000. See, but again, on the narrative, the 2 games Sunday and Saturday both had 25,000 for the White Sox. Now you're talking about a weekend against the Lightning game.
The hockey team doubled probably the crowd at the baseball game.
Correct. But they have been winning a bunch. And again, you've been down here and around this area doing your travels with the Tigers and that kind of stuff. This is a hockey area, especially in the postseason. So it does not surprise me that it drew that much attention away from it. And what will be fascinating is Thursday night, the NFL draft is going on. I'm doing the live draft coverage on the local Buccaneer flagship and on the Buccaneers mobile app. So the draft's ongoing. The Rays are playing at the same time, I believe, at home. I got to double-check that. And now the Lightning Game 5, which could be an eliminator, is on the road in Toronto at the same time.
Hendon,
so you got 3 things competing for eyeballs.
Is Hooker going to be the guy that the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to take? We'll talk more about that.
Are you trying to throw even more into chaos here?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
That the Bucks could take a quarterback and could take Hendon Hooker of Tennessee? He's been here for a visit. They get 30 visits with 30 different players of any walk, of any position. He was one of the 30. They've talked to him. Again, there's questions on how soon would he be ready, but then again, the argument might be, okay, that's not a 2023 question for him. Have him ready for 2024 while Baker Mayfield is here. It'll be interesting for the Buccaneers. I believe Hooker gets picked in the first round. Someone will take him. I don't know that it's my Buccaneers. We'll see.
From Brady to Mayfield, what a difference. As always, TJ, we thank you a bunch, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Always good to be with you, boys. We'll see if the Lightning stay alive, NFL draft craziness, and much more. Let's see if the Rays
I just didn't mean to cut him off. We'll see if the Rays can keep that thing going, as he just said. We'll see if the Grizzlies can turn things around tomorrow night. This portion of the show brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Almost 70 years now of Ken Garland in the market. His dad started the business, and Ken Jr. has taken it over for a long time now. And they just do beautiful homes or renovations. Go look, kengarland.com, or call 751-1632. 751-1632. He's fun to talk to. So throw things around. If you're looking for land, he's got it. You don't know how to utilize land? Oh, he knows. And also, if you want to stay in your home, but you want modern amenities, nobody does a renovation better. Renovation with innovation with Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We pause for a second. Baseball with Tim Doolin is right around the corner.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
It's time to hit the road in your new Kia from Gossett Kia on the Pike. You'll be turning heads and dropping jaws in a 2023 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, now $249 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or take your pick from all-around good-looking SUVs in 2023 Seltos LX all-wheel drive, $29.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia Soul LX, $27.99 due at signing, $269 a month, your choice, all 36-month leases. Plus reliability you can count on. Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Can't find what you're looking for? Let Bobby J order you a new ride today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 581,348, MSRP 21,690, Seltos P 745,878, MSRP 24,840, Soul P 7205,317, MSRP 22,250. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/30/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We're going to talk some baseball with Tim Doolin here in a second. I'll let you know he's brought to you by Miramichi, and he loves Miramichi. One of the biggest fans of Miramichi. He goes out there and plays a lot. I've seen him. He's got a good golf swing, too. Well, all these baseball guys. They know how to hit golf balls, and even at his older age, now he's not like me, but his older age, he's still hitting the ball. I want to say from the maybe 7,000 tees. That's the beauty of Miramichi. You've got choice. I hit it at 6,300. There's one that's 5,000. There is a tee box for your level. And here's the one constant: beauty. That's what Miramichi is all about. And by the way, they have a few left. They are giving out memberships that include free use of all the practice facilities and all the golf balls you can hit on the range. You don't pay a cart fee. It's a heck of a deal, a monthly fee. Call Cheryl Pardue to find out more. Miramichi, out there, 12 minutes from downtown in Woodstock. Tim Doolin joins us now. Not only is he knowledgeable about baseball, but he knows the history of the area. And now he's the star of a feature they're doing on Babe Howard tonight at FedEx Field when the Tigers take on UT Martin. What did you say about Babe Howard? Good morning.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the star. That's for dang sure. But, yeah, I mean, you know, Laura, Babe's daughter, has been so gracious to make huge contributions over the years to the facilities.
Yes.
At FedEx Field, and I'm just proud to have gotten the opportunity to have met and known Babe for a number of years, and obviously the impact that he had over not just what he did at Millington Telephone back in the day for the American Legion program, but for all of baseball. I mean, this is a guy that brought the USA training facility to Millington, and then obviously they moved it to Cary, North Carolina, just because they needed more room and space and probably geographic stuff. But he was just a legend. I mean, I used to go out there when I started my pro career a couple of times during the off season and have lunch with him at his old restaurant, Old Timers, and just, it's almost like guys that you see in baseball that are, bench coaches that are old crusty scouts that are just full of wisdom, not just baseball, but just in life general. And so they're going to pay a tribute to him tonight before the game against UT Martin. And I'm just honored that they invited me to participate in this.
I think his daughter's special too. I've been at social functions with her a couple of times. Her father was incredible. First off, he was an insightful guy and knew things. Like you mentioned the phone company. He also was the first guy. He brought cable to Millington. So he had the foresight to see that. He had those things called goat days where they had this festival.
They were fainting goats, Wolo. Fainting goats.
But he was the one, I think he started that whole festival that brought people in. To get to know what Millington was all about, and then USA Baseball he built that stadium on the Comm, and it really worked out, and it's still a terrific site. I know Memphis plays a game or two still out there. They still have all kinds of tournaments. I think you guys played out there. You brought the Doolin Dodgers from all over the place there.
Yeah, we did. We sure did. And I tell you one interesting thing is that, and I wish it was happening more because our culture is just totally kind of changed and gone, I think, in the wrong direction. But when we played for Millington Telephone, I don't think it was mandatory, but I would say 90% of our players, we worked for the phone company. So we had to be at the phone company at 7:30 Monday through Friday. Excuse me, if we weren't out of town, report to the phone company. They would put 2 or 3 guys with several different superintendents, and we did everything from shovel donkey crap to bale hay to cut grass to, it was a full day's work in the heat. And then we would go from finishing work to either practice or a game. And it made us appreciate the value of $1. I was able to save some money and help pay my car insurance, but it was just teaching you responsibility. But yet, and I would lend to say that it's not, it wouldn't be, a surprise that the majority of the players that played through Babe's organization have gone on to be successful, and a lot is to attribute, how he taught us about being responsible and work ethic.
Speaking of work ethic and culture, sure looks like Kerrick Jackson is doing that with the Tigers. In his first year, he's got them at 500, 20 and 20, so you're about 2/3 of the year through. Give me your assessment, culture-wise, productivity-wise, future-wise.
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because I've talked to several pro scouts that have been following the University of Memphis for a number of years, and they said it's a huge and it's very noticeable of what he and his staff have done in just a short period of time. Obviously, they picked up a few guys in the portal, but it's still going to take him a couple of years because he's got to get his players in and in his system. But the energy, the organization, the attention to detail is all getting to new heights, and I think that's what Blair DeBoard and the administration was hoping for, and I think they're getting that, and they're very excited. Obviously, the renovation of the stadium where they've completely turfed it and redone walls and moved some things around. And I was out there the other day doing this segment on video for Babe, Mr. Howard, and it's really shaping up to be a really nice facility. And so I think it's all in front of him, and it's trending in the right direction. I think it's just going to take a couple of years.
I love it when you honor history and legacy, tradition. Babe is certainly a part of baseball tradition in this whole area, and they should do more of that with the Tiger baseball programs because there were great players, of course, including you. So I hope they do more and more of that, and it looks like Kerrick Jackson is on that route. Last thing for our friend Tim Doolin on baseball, how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? 20-3 and 14-0 at home. The last time a team was perfect at home through their first 14 home games was 1890.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, this is not surprising in the sense that the Rays are doing well because they've done that over the last 4 or 5 years, and to be able to do it, and I think we talked on the show a couple of weeks ago, to be able to do it with guys that you really can't recognize on the national stage, but yet they continue to build through their minor league system. They're continuing to lose players once they get to free agency because they're in such a small market and can't afford it, but yet they just keep doing it with I think a combination of really good player development, like I said, as well as their analytic department. I think is one of the best in baseball. Obviously, it's working, and these guys. The one thing I can tell you is when you have young players like they do, these guys are trying to not only establish themselves in the big leagues, but prove that they're worthy of when they do become arbitration eligible or free agent eligible, that they're able to go make a lot of money in the game. And so they're hungry to participate, not just in the big leagues, but to also thrive in the big leagues. And that team's doing it, and their manager's done a great job. And I think they all work together within the front office and the on-field staff.
Good
so
point.
it's pretty impressive, that's for sure.
Yeah, good point on the motivation. Now, they're way away from the greatest start ever because that was the 84 Tigers, as T.J. Reeves told us, that were 35-5. So they'd have to go 15-2 to tie that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it certainly is a unreal story that they're 14-0 at home to begin the year. Tim Doolin, as always, we appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Wolo.
Thank you. See you out at Miramichi. That is our friend Tim Doolin. He's brought to you by Southern Security, your home team credit union. For about 70 years, they've been serving the Mid-South community with unbeatable rates, low fees, great service, all of the newest technology through your employer. You and your family members are now eligible to take advantage of all these benefits. And if you got questions, you can actually talk to a person. If you call 452-7900 extension 5. That's right. Their fees are lower than traditional banks. That's just the truth. And it's like family if you go there. And that can be for home loan, auto loan, personal loan, lowest rates around, and people that'll talk to you. How can you beat it? That's why they've been around 70 years. That is Southern Security, your home team credit union. That's in the books. Tomorrow, we'll try to game plan for your Grizzlies. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.
Visit Frontier Western